She's a doctor.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dovec, and she's a dietitian.
Hey, I'm Hannah Schuyler, and together we are the Weight Loss Collab.
'Tis the holiday season, and today I am so excited to go through the 12 days of Holiday Hotspots with mindset bariatric weight loss therapist extraordinaire, the one and only Lora Grabow. Here we go. I cannot wait for this. This is maybe my favorite thing that you have put out there, and you know I am your biggest fan.
Thank you so much for having me. And yes, I love that you invited me on to talk about the 12 days of holiday hotspots and how our patients can get through this. This is a hard time for our patients, and I want to make sure that we're giving them all the tools they can have to have success.
Yes, the holidays now, like we say, we should um, have these perfect moments and these hallmark holiday things. But let's talk about some reality here. Let's talk about all of it. And I love the way you so cleverly divided it up into the 12 main things and just some of the things that go with it. But why don't you start us off and talk about day one? Where would you even begin on these holiday kind of tough moments?
Right. So before I even jump in and tell you what day one is, I want to tell your listeners I'm not only here to share hot spots to watch out for, what are some obstacles that you may hit, but I'm also going to share what do we do about them, right? I want all of your listeners to leave this podcast knowing part of what do we do about them is we have to know the problem. Like before we get to the solution, you have to understand the problem. And that's what I'm going to do with these 12 days of hotspots. Where can it be a hotspot for you? Where could it become a trap, if you will? Where I want you to be prepared. And I didn't just come up with these off of the top of my head. I've come up with these because I've worked with patients now for 20 years and in the medical and surgical weight loss space. And um, anxiety is up during the month of December, especially up for our patients affected by the disease of obesity who've worked really hard this year to treat it and they want to stay on track. So let's jump right in. Day one holiday hotspot, I'm sure nobody's going to be surprised by this, is emotional eating. Emotional eating is at an all-time high during December. Why? Because the holidays can bring up complex emotions like loneliness, stress, grief, which then increases your likelihood to go to food to comfort that. Who wants to feel those big feelings? I'd rather just eat too. But it's also important to talk about the number one feeling all of us emotionally eat for is celebration and happiness. And we want to keep the good feeling going. And there is many opportunities to do that during the month of December. Thanksgiving, one meal. December, multiple happy eating events. And so that is something that our patients need to be aware of is December is a month for high risk emotional eating. So that's day one.
Yeah, when we did this this class in person, the master class, like you asked how many holiday events do people have planned? And I think somebody said like 11 or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Right.
And I was just like, it's, I always talk about trying to make foods fit and things like that, but that's tough. That's tough to go to that many things and have that many things fit in.
Oh, yeah. And,
Absolutely.
and I always feel like working in a hospital system, in the break room, there is always someone's birthday. And now it's the holidays. Oh, and there's drug reps and they're bringing us food. And like, thank you for your business this year. I just get a big tin of popcorn from some random like Sky Payments thing. Like, what is this? The wine, the
Right.
alcohol, all of the things that people are gifting as they're, just being nice, but it is tough when it starts to add up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I will just I'm going to call day two right now what we've already said as a month of social gatherings, right? We've kind of naturally gone there. So not only are we at risk of emotional eating, there is a month of social gatherings. Have your listeners count out how many holiday events do you have? And we know those holiday events include the New Year's events, right? So
Hmm.
there's all the December events, the office Christmas party, the family Christmas party, both families splitting things up, wanting to do
Oof.
something with just your nuclear family. Oh, girls' night out. Let's have our book
Hmm.
club celebrate the holidays. And then we go into New Year's, and then there's New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and it can just keep
Yeah,
going. So that's
you
what I
really
call,
do.
yeah.
This one like women's group that I'm a part of, I think they don't do a Christmas because it's so busy, right? Everybody's like, oh, it's too busy, it's too busy. They do like bring your old white elephant gifts in January, and they do like a second round of white elephant gifts so
Yeah,
that you can trade. And so it's like it just continues on.
it just
Oh, let's keep
continues.
going.
So it may turn into 2 months of
Oh,
social
geez, Hannah.
gatherings, which increases your risk of going off plan. Day 3, I will call holiday stinkin' thinking. You know me as a therapist. I'm working with helping so many of my patients become aware of what I call stinking thinking. Every behavior is driven by a thought and an emotion. And if we want to change that behavior, we have to slow down and we have to be able to recognize our stinking thinking, or I'll call it, you need to catch it, check it, and change it.
Mm,
And what I've learned about holiday stinkin' thinking is it sounds like this, right? So, are any of our listeners struggling with thoughts like, it's the holidays, right? It's the holiday season. I'll start in January, or this is only once a year food, right?
yes.
That's from
Hmm.
holidays stinking thinking can be that can lead to a lot of unplanned eating. I only get this once a year, or I deserve. I've heard that this week. Like, I am exhausted. People are tired in December. Our patients are everything to everyone. That often goes into overdrive in December. And at the end of the night, it's like, I want to get cozy and I deserve. And they often connect that with that emotional eating.
Hmm.
Um, Another big one that is really powerful, like if I had to pick, like, what is the number one holiday stinking thinking that can cause a lot of damage, is I've already blown it. I might as well blow it big,
Mm,
Hmm.
right? I've already blown it. I might as well blow it big. And a lot of my work is helping our patients recognize holiday stinking thinking as a hot spot and being able to say, okay, I've already blown it. I might as well blow it big, but kind of slow down and say, is that what I really want to do? Why do I want to maximize damage in this area of my life? I have an opportunity to minimize it, right? So that's where my role comes in. So holiday stinking thinking is our day 3. Day 4 for what is our day 4 holiday hotspots? It's the people at those gatherings. Let's be
yes.
Hmm.
honest, right? It's the family and social expectations. Dealing with questions, comments, judgment, food police, food pushers. This can be a holiday hotspot. Well-meaning loved ones can say something like just one more bite that can trigger you to go off your plan and may trigger loss of control eating. Um, Day 5, holiday hotspot, is trigger foods are everywhere, right? That's what you're just saying with your company sending you popcorn, right? I used to work in a clinic as well, medical and surgical weight loss, and I'm like, why does our break room look like this? It is
Ugh.
it is a sugar swamp, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly what you said. Patients are bringing in cookies, staff are cooking. Well, let's just face it. We've even told our patients, you like to bake, well, bake and then bring it in for someone.
Ugh.
And you don't have to eat it, get it out of your house. Well, our trigger foods are everywhere, and they're sugary, high fat, high calorie foods that tempt our patients to our room. For some of our patients, it can trigger dumping syndrome. And speaking of trigger foods everywhere, I want to connect that to the holiday hotspot of once a year eating. Many of our patients are hungry for nostalgia
Mm,
during the holidays, and often that nostalgia is connected to a trigger food that quickly gets in control of them instead of them feeling in control of it. Like, I always made these sugar cookies with my grandma, and I miss my grandma. So trigger foods.
well, even on that note, when you're talking about the nostalgia and you're talking about just the connection and the way it makes you feel and the smells and all these things, how do you deal with when you're going back to the people at these celebrations? How do you really just, when they're bringing it, and for the last 40 years of your life, you've always done this with grandma, and grandma's going to die soon, or, whatever. How do you kind of get through that?
Yeah, so a couple things. I'm still of the age where I would say it's the broken record technique, but I'm old, so maybe, well, the vinyls are coming back. Vinyls are coming
Oh
back, so they
yeah,
can,
we understand the
but
reference.
it's putting it on repeat, putting your playlist on repeat, and I call it just the no, no, thank you. When grandma offers you that food, certainly you can compliment it, you can compliment the thought that went into it, and you just keep saying no, no, thank you, no, no, thank you, no, no, thank you, over and over. She eventually runs out of things to say. And I've role played this with our patients, and they've used it and it works. Um, but often they'll say, "But Lora, it's my grandma. Like, it's my grandma." And, Betsy, you mentioned that, she's not going to be around. She may not be around much more during Christmas. And I actually didn't share this one when I taught this masterclass live with Body by Bariatrics, but uh, when people are telling me they can't say no to grandma, I say, "Well, tell me a little bit about your grandma." Right? So we're preparing for this holiday event, and I'll say, "Tell me a little bit about your grandma. Has she ever been through hard things in her life?" And inevitably, if I thought of my grandma, I would say, "Well, absolutely. My grandpa died young. She had to be a single mom. Gosh, my grandma was part of the Depression and World War II, or, whatever." So start thinking. So I have them start saying, what are some hard things that your grandma has been through in her life?
Mm.
And they can think of it. And then I say, and here's the turnaround. I say, "Okay, wow. So your grandma's buried her husband, and she got through the Depression, and she, she went through these health problems of cancer, yet for some reason you think she can't handle your no
Hmm.
to sugar
Yeah.
cookies?" And it
Yeah.
like hits. They're like, "Oh, I'm like, your grandma's gonna be okay, right? Your grandma has grit. She has resilience. She's gonna
Yes.
be okay. She can handle a no to your sugar cookies."
Mm.
Another thing I share with the food pushers is, we'll take this one to Aunt Susie. Um, I really want you to think about. I want our patients to think about how upset is Aunt Susie going to be on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 highest disturbance imaginable if you say no to her sugar cookies or the peppermint brownies she made just for you. How upset is she going to be on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 highest disturbance imaginable. And I want our listeners to think about that. And some of you may be like, "You don't know my Aunt Susie. She's going to be like an 8. She gets real crabby." But most of the listeners are probably like, "Yeah, she's probably going to be upset at like a 3 or a 4." And then I ask the next question, and I ask this next question out of the listeners: how long does Aunt Susie stay there? How long does Aunt Susie stay at a 3 or a 4 or an 8? And often it's like a few minutes or maybe a few seconds until someone else eats her peppermint brownies. Like, you've said no, no, thank you, and she's moved on. So we know Aunt Susie only maybe gets upset 3, 4, maybe an 8, but she doesn't stay there that long.
Hmm.
Now I want to ask our listeners, how upset are you going to be? You went in with this plan, you've listened to this podcast, and you thought, "Okay, I got to say no. I'm going to say no, no, thank you, and I'm going to move on. Aunt Susie can handle it." How upset are you going to be if you don't stick to that plan on a scale of 1 to 10? What I've
Mm.
learned is you're like a 10 plus. My
Hmm.
patients are so mad at themselves when they don't stick to their plan. And here's the kicker: how long do our patients stay there? What they've told me, and I ask the listeners, how long will you stay there? Sometimes it could be days.
Hmm.
You beat yourself up for days that you gave in. And so, friends, I want to say to you, why is it okay to not upset Aunt Susie, who maybe gets to a 3 or 4 for a couple of seconds, but it is okay to upset yourself? You are entitled to stick to your plan. You are entitled to say no to your food pushers. They will be okay.
Mm.
Yeah. I think we should start pushing other foods. Like if somebody starts pushing you, I'm just going to be a brat about it. And I'm going to be like, here, I made Brussels sprouts.
Yeah,
Here, eat my Brussels sprouts. Hey, eat my Brussels sprouts. Like just flip it around on them. Like if they don't want to eat it,
yeah.
just keep putting, I don't know. Maybe I'm a
There's a good
butthead.
tip. There's a good tip. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. Um,
Seriously, though, it sounds absurd when you go the other direction, but why
it
is
does.
that? I mean,
Why
but
is
it's
it?
all the same. It's the same
It's
exact
the
thing.
same
It's
exact
such a,
thing.
that's a very good perspective on it.
Like,
It makes
yeah,
you realize how absurd this is on
right.
the base level of it. But I know that there's so many complex things. You think, oh, well, she may get upset. That might start an argument. That might spiral. I will never speak to grandma again for the rest of my life. What could happen? I mean, but at the root of it, it is not that serious. It's
no,
not.
No.
no. Grandma's going to be okay. Aunt Susie's going to be
Yeah.
okay. Um, I did not lose count. We are on day 6 of Holiday Hotspots. Another big part of why the holidays are hard is loss of routine. So if you have all those extra social events to go to and you're
Hmm.
busy preparing for your own holiday event, you're going to be traveling, you're going to be hosting, you're going to be attending events, can disrupt your meal planning. It can disrupt your hydration habits. It can disrupt your movement routines. And December, you may have that stinking thinking. These hot spots like layer on each other. You know what?
Hmm.
I don't have time for my routine. I'll get back to it in January. If there is ever a month you need to stick to your routine and structure, it's December. It's December.
Yeah, I mean, I think that loss of routine, this is of the 12, and of course we're at the halfway point here. This is the one that for some reason is just the most profound kind of awakening that again, simplistic, but you're so right. Like you're on your hydration goals, you get your protein, you have your meal planning, whatever works for you. Maybe those things work, maybe they don't. You have this plan, this routine. Of course, it goes out the window. And then, like you said, it's layering, it's compounding on itself, and it just makes it so much worse. I really want to focus on this loss of routine one and have people kind of really try to redirect themselves back to their basics that they know work for them.
Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
feel like you can take this as an opportunity to look at your routine and then look at okay, let's be realistic about the month too and say, how do I either fit these things into my routine or do I make a different plan to fit these in? So I know that on, Tuesday night I've got my holiday party and that's when I normally go to my boxing class. So okay,
Mm.
great. I'm going to plan ahead and I'm going to say I'm going to go to the one that's in the morning that day. So I'm still doing my thing, but my routine maybe looks a little different. Um, because I think, you want to stick with routine, but I don't know, I like to participate in things too. So
Yes, of
like,
course.
I think that's to me where you could find some good balance in that. I don't know.
Absolutely. Excellent point, Hannah. Day 7, I mentioned already when talking about emotional eating that the holidays can be hard because many people are feeling grief for loss of loved ones. But I
Mm.
think it's important to point out something that maybe your listeners have never heard of this, but it's called bariatric grief. Um, this might be your first holiday where you can't eat the foods that you usually ate at Christmas time. You may be a brand new bariatric patient and you're on liquids or you're on purees, right? And a holiday hotspot for you could be not being able to eat traditional holiday foods. It might make you feel excluded from celebrations. Um, you're just learning how your body works, right? Adapting to how your body tolerates holiday foods post surgery can be unpredictable and frustrating. And it brings all those waves of grief and loss that one can feel on a weight loss journey. And then again, just feeling left out. I've
Mm.
heard that over and over again. Like, I just want to eat how everyone else is eating at the holiday events. And that's hard.
Hmm. It is all those waves of grief. I'm a big fan of this whole perspective too. The anger, the sadness, the bargaining, which goes back to some of the stinking thinking. It's just once a year. I deserve this. It's a celebration. I'm at a loss here. And then, like you said, you'll go through all of these stages and then you'll ultimately go through a longer one of acceptance, but it can be magnified. Grieving is so hard, and that can be magnified, particularly for our patients around this time. So if you're feeling that way, I think obviously very normal.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
Day
it's another
8,
layer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
day 8, our patients are probably like, why wasn't there day 1? When is she going to talk about all the holiday stress?
Oof.
Absolutely. The holidays are full of stress and fatigue, and that is a holiday hotspot. The hustle and bustle of the season can lead to stress, lack of sleep, and neglect of self-care, which is
Hmm.
why I'm so excited to talk about, okay, what do we do about all these holiday hotspots? You need to be showing up for yourself, not neglecting self-care. You need to be showing up for yourself with self-care.
I really loved your perspective during the Holiday Headwork Masterclass, where you really dove into all of these things, where you're talking about now social media and this whole perfectly polished, airbrushed version of our lives, which are completely not anyone's life on planet Earth, has really even magnified the stress even more to perform and be perfect or make yourself feel less than because of these airbrushed images.
Yeah, it's not real, right? And you feel that pressure for perfectionism and doing it perfect, and everyone's feeling merry and bright, and that's not true. Most of us are feeling stress and fatigue.
Yes.
Another holiday hotspot, I think around day 9, is managing alcohol.
Hmm.
This is one I talk about a lot with our bariatric surgery patients. Post-surgery, alcohol affects the body differently and can be challenging to navigate in a social situation. And there's just more opportunities during December to drink alcohol. That's why I believe dry January is so popular, uh,
Hmm.
because people are drinking more alcoholic beverages, and that's a slippery slope. That may be another podcast that I do with you. I call it um, from food to booze. It's
Hmm.
alcohol use post bariatric surgery is a high risk, is high risk for our patients, and our patients need to exercise caution. Uh,
Hmm.
and even just looking at it from, and Hannah, you can speak to this, the liquid calorie
Hmm.
piece of it, right?
Yeah.
Liquid calories. These are highly caloric, sugary drinks that don't help you stick to your plan.
Well, there's kind of twofold to that. So one, actually it's multifactorial on that. So one is that yes, alcohol itself provides calories and it actually provides almost twice as many calories per gram as protein and carbs do.
Mm.
So 1 gram of protein or carbs provides about 4 calories. 1 gram of alcohol provides 7 calories. So even just straight, like a clear liquor or something is going to provide calories, despite the fact that it may not have any carbs or anything in it. And then,
Wow.
yeah, you add in, okay, I'm mixing this with a juice, I'm mixing it with a soda, I'm having a glass of wine that's got sugar in it, I'm having a beer. I've heard one doctor say that beer is basically like drinking bread, which is pretty accurate, based on just carbs. It's like just drinking a cup of
Right.
bread. And so, yeah, when you put it that way, people are like, wait, I would never I don't eat bread. Like, why would I,
Yeah.
drink this beer? Um, so there's that. And so there's those calories, and then there's all the ones that come with alcohol. So you get a little loose, you start feeling good, you start picking, you start snacking, you start grabbing all these things that again may not normally fall within your plan. And that's somewhere else that, it adds up. It really does. So it's something to definitely be aware of. And this is something interesting. And Dr. Dovec, I'm gonna see what your thoughts on this, but we're pretty liberal in a lot of our recommendations, like post-op. We try to progress people's diet through really quickly and get people on regular food and blah blah blah, all of that. But I feel like we're pretty strict on alcohol in comparison to other programs because we tell
We
people to wait a year.
Oh, I love you guys.
I know, I'm the most liberal human I feel like out there. I'm like, do you? Whatever you wanna
Mhm.
you wanna
Have
keep.
sex, like get on a
Yeah.
regular diet, like
I know, right? Whatever you want in the support group. Everyone has all these rules and regulations. Mine is like,
yeah.
just don't be a jerk. Like, you can
Yeah.
say anything, do anything, chat with each other, make your own spinoffs, do anything.
Mhm.
But the alcohol one, I know it is a year. Is I think there's a lot of reasons that you already just all said. I think that it's just not worth it when you're in this kind of fragile mental state. And I think that's more of what it is. And I also think that once you get to a certain point where you've been without something for so long, and then that kind of changes your habits, your routines, do you really need to go back to it?
Mhm.
Although, I know I had three kids, you don't drink at all for almost a year, and then you do find yourself perhaps maybe wanting it, or maybe you don't. You're like, I'm not a drinker anymore. That's not working for me. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we do keep it a year. We're like the longest program ever on that one.
Hmm.
I support it 100%.
Yeah.
Thank
I,
you.
I explain and I explain all those reasons because people ask me, they're like, so when can I drink alcohol? And I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm going on a cruise. I mean, I also tell people ultimately it's everything is your decision. And I always tell people the first time you have a drink, do it at home.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna, like you said, Laura, it just is different than it was prior to surgery. So do it at home, see how you feel. Have someone
Hmm.
safe with you. You just don't want to be out and about and not know. You might have bad dumping syndrome too, like quite frankly. You might get
Right.
a low blood sugar, you might be in the bathroom, like just do it at home. So but yeah, if people are always like, a year. I'm like, yeah, yeah. If like you said, Betsy, if people can do it for pregnancy, you can do it for a year
Yeah.
post-surgery.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we're coming up to day 10, 11, and 12 of our holiday hotspots. I think we've already started talking a little bit about day 10.
Hmm.
I call that the hotspot of unmet expectations, seeing everybody's perfect holiday.
Mm.
I think our patients might struggle with holiday perfectionism or feel disappointed. If First of all, I have to do the perfect holiday, but maybe they had an idea in their head of like, I'm going to be this weight or I'm going to look this
Mm.
way by the end of the year in my weight loss journey, and you didn't meet those expectations. And then, as I already said, the pressure to provide that perfect holiday. I think all of us, not just our patients, need to take that pressure right off. We put it on
Mm.
ourselves. Let's take it off. There's no such thing as a perfect holiday. Day 11, lack of support. I think, uh, our patients, again, they stop their routine. They stop going to their support group. They stop coming, I'm going to skip Project Reset this week because I'm just so busy. No, this is when you need support the most because you're
Hmm.
around people who may not understand your bariatric journey and it can feel very isolating. So I want to make sure you're connecting with other people, which brings us to day 12, right?
Mm.
Are you making time to connect with other bariatric patients? Are you making time for your own self-care or are you overcommitted? The day 12 holiday hotspot is overcommitted. Saying yes to too many obligations can lead to burnout and neglect of physical and emotional health. Um, Friends, say yes to what you want to go to. If there's a white elephant party you don't want to go to, you can say no.
Hmm.
Do you. Go to the events that are life-giving to you, and that may be none of them. You might want to just do Christmas with your immediate family. You can do that. You can do that. So the 12
I
days of holiday hotspots, we got through them.
I man, that is awesome. I think the overcommitment piece is, yeah, one of my favorite topics you have on Project Reset is your video and your live kind of interactive portion on is your yes sabotaging your journey. And we talk all the time, the cliche, put your oxygen on first and all of those things. But when you look at it, especially with the holidays, I mean, I'll tell you, the other day I was supposed to go to this party and I walked in. I got all ready. Actually, Hannah gave me this dress that's it's a long story, but I love this dress. I didn't even tell you this, Hannah. I walked in and I said to Erin, I just want to go out to eat with you right now. And we walked out. Like we
Yeah.
did
Yay!
all this stuff. It was like this like not black tie, but pretty dressy. So Hannah gave me this black tie, like black cocktail dress. I'm like looking good. I did the whole thing, the theme. I was like there and I walked in and I'm like, don't want to mingle. I talk all day long. I just want to talk to you. Let's go to our favorite restaurant. And I did a 180 and walked right out
I
of
love
it.
it.
That was it. And I had the
I
best night.
love it.
We had so much
You
fun.
had
And I
the
was
best
like,
night, and that those people at that party
yes.
survived.
They survived and
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
didn't give a damn if I was there or not. Like, I
Right.
mean, who cares? Like, there was a lot of people there. It was a huge group and tons of people, tons of little circles. This is another thing. Like, people form these like little social circles and you're like, okay, can I like pop in? Is it awkward? Are they already in a
Mm.
conversation? Everybody's just kind of like looking around the room, even though you're in a conversation. Are they bored with me? I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
even really want to make small talk right now. Don't want to do it. Didn't want to do
Yep.
it.
You wanted to
It's worked
hang with
out.
your puppy at your favorite restaurant. I love it.
That's
Good
it.
for
We've been
you.
overdriving. I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm becoming more selfish or what, but I am like, I'm not prepared. I don't have gifts. I'm like, screw this mingling for these people. I don't have much
Mhm.
time because we operate so much in December. I'm like doing
You
what I want to do,
No,
doing me.
you're
That's what you all need to do.
protect your peace, girl.
That doesn't
Yes,
sound
all of
selfish
you.
at all. It sounds like
Mhm.
self-care. It sounds like self-compassion. We're going to lead into that now. And Betsy, that improves your capacity to care for yourself, care for
Mhm.
others, right? It doesn't make you selfish. When you're taking care of you, it improves your capacity to care for others. So yeah, no, you're not being selfish.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to people who, every one of them, people are listening to this podcast, they're emphatically nodding. You've just put words to the way they are feeling. That is your superpower. Like you have the gift of understanding and really feeling empathetic. What can people do?
Well, it may be surprising, right? You might be looking like, okay, what kind of tips and strategies and give me the 10-point plan to get through my holiday hotspot. And I'm going to share one thing, and it may be surprising. What if in December you gave yourself the gift of holiday self-compassion? What if your priority each day was to pour self-compassion into yourself, to have moments where you treat yourself like you would a good friend? What I've learned about our patients is they're experts, especially when they hit all of these holiday hotspots, of having harsh criticism for themselves. They beat themselves up. What if we took time in December to cultivate kindness towards ourselves? And this isn't just a nice Lora Grabow soothing idea. Uh, it's proven. There is a lot of empirical research behind this idea of self-compassion. It's a proven way to transform our emotional health, our relationships, and our well-being. And I think it could be key to helping us rise above and have control over our holiday hotspots versus our holiday hotspots controlling us. And people are like, okay, that makes sense. But again, how, right? So one of my passions is I just don't want to sit here and talk about, oh, let's be self-compassionate. What does that look like? You know, what does, self-compassion actually look like? And I want to invite all of you who are listening, if you're not following me on my social media platforms, please follow along at bariatric.therapist, because the gift I'm giving to everyone the month of December is the 12 days of self-compassion, 12 tips of how to bring self-compassion to your day. So ones I'd like to share with your listeners today could be, asking yourself, what do I need today to feel cared for? What do I need today to feel cared for? And oftentimes we look for other people to fulfill that need, but the power of self-compassion is the person who's around 24/7 who can always fill that need is you. So take your time to pause and say, what do I need today to feel cared for? And then you give yourself that gift. So I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I had some stress, and what did I need to feel cared for? I needed to text my people and text my friends, hey, I'm stressed out. This is hard. Again, it wasn't looking for them to give me the care. I needed to reach out and just let people know. And at the same time in that day, that stress we got through that stress, and then I celebrated with my people. I needed that. So that was something, I let them know, things went well. Another thing I do each morning is taking time for quiet, reflection, meditation, journaling. That's a rhythm that I have, a rhythm of self-compassion that I incorporate every morning, that started during COVID because I had the time. And then I was like, I can't lose this. This has been key to my days. So taking time in the morning and incorporating something like deep breathing, taking time to do 3 slow, deep breaths where You breathe in slowly through your nose, and you can hold it at the top just for a bit, and then breathing out slowly through your mouth, and think about blowing bubbles. Self-compassion could include connecting a mantra with deep breathing. So, breathing in peace, breathing out holiday stress, breathing in calm, breathing out holiday chaos. Like, you can connect words that mean something to you. Um, be kind to yourself when things don't go as planned. Embrace your imperfection instead of being a harsh critic of, I can't believe that happened. Betsy, I think I heard you did that. Like, I don't have to be here. I want to give myself what I want. It's okay. Um, it didn't go as planned, and ended up being better for you and your husband in the end. So there's just some examples of my 12 days of self-compassion. Follow along for more. I am doing the 12 tips because this is a brand new skill, and I've been working on it myself, right? Not, I think all of us need to work on showing up to ourselves with self-compassion, showing up to ourselves um, in our self-talk and the way we talk to a good friend. And yeah, do you guys have any thoughts on that self-compassion tips, strategies? What do you think?
I'm just over here deep breathing.
I
Yeah,
know, right? I was like,
I know, I'm like,
so
you're okay.
yeah, I actually saw a patient, I don't remember if it was the day after, sometime after the class we did, and she literally like used some of this language. She was like kind of in like a weight plateau right now. And I was like, well, what's going on? And we talked through diet and everything. And she was like, well, I have this good friend. She had surgery the same day as me, so we've become good friends and we talk. And she's like, I think you're not I think you're not eating enough or whatever, which is I think what I had told her as well. And then she's like, but the other day I had one chaffle and then the next day I had two and I was like, that's too much food. And I was like, first of all, no, it's not. And then second of all, I was like, would you ever tell that friend that, she's bad? And she basically said, I'm bad essentially for eating two of these. I said, would you ever tell that friend that had surgery the same day that you're bad for eating two truffles, like, or two anything? It does,
No,
that's just
right.
what it was. But she was like, no, I wouldn't. And I was like, so then why would you tell that to yourself? Like, you're just, to treat yourself like you would your friend or your husband, or maybe not like your husband, I don't know. Treat them like you would a loved one,
Yeah.
and be nice to them, but be nice to yourself.
I love all that. I love scheduling me time. It is chaotic. The world is swirling. People come at us. They demand things.
Your life is chaotic.
Maybe a little
Is
bit.
it?
Especially in
Why?
December for bariatric surgeons, everyone trying to
Hmm.
get their surgeries in.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, but this is our time. Like we've been in training for this. Like I'm ready. Like this is my Super Bowl. Like I'm not gonna but I mean, you do have a lot of time in the car and I use that time to do it again, whatever I want and like do self-improvement or do, just listen to the radio or like,
Yes,
talk on the phone to our
yes,
friends. Like,
yes, yeah,
yeah,
reach out
just
for
do whatever
connection.
you're feeling. But I love that. Connect to support, send the text. Everybody knows about our group text and my favorite emoji, the cigarette. And,
Yes,
I love it. Hey, it
I
cracks
love
me
it
up.
too.
We do memes, we do things like, yes, just you're gonna get through this. You're gonna be okay. And you have something waiting on the other side in 2025 because you're bringing back your book club.
Yes, I am. I am so glad. So again, not only, gifting people on my social media platforms the 12 days of self-compassion, talking about it here. I really want to, I'm a big fan of ditching New Year's resolutions. They don't work. And saying,
Oh.
what do I want 2025 to be about? And what if we could make 2025 the year of learning to be kinder to ourselves?
Mm,
And so I am doing a book club, or I guess when it's Lora Grabow, I call it a book study,
of
um,
course.
because we're going to spend not just one, but I want to invite you to what I'm calling self-compassion Saturdays. I'm even doing it on Saturdays. I
Wow.
want to improve access, and um, every Saturday, we're going to start that first Saturday of the new year. We're going to go through Dr. Kristen Neff's book. So she is kind of like the guru. We talked about the empirical research. She's written a book called The Proven Power of Being Kind to Yourself, Self-Compassion by Dr. Kristen Neff. And I want all of you to be able to make 2025 your year of self-compassion. If you're like, I want to, I'm realizing beating myself up and being harsh on myself really isn't working for me. What if we tried something different? And so it's going to be 6 weeks of guided discussion. It's going to be a safe space to reflect, connect, and grow. And of course, it's going to be full of practical tools that you can implement each week and then hopefully throughout the rest of your year to grow in the area of self-compassion, because I want all of my patients to break free from harsh self-criticism and shame and move towards understanding and grace and compassion. And so I invite all your listeners, just head on over to my website, loragrabow.com. You can register. And here's the best gift. It's only $35.
For
I
6
love it.
weeks of book
For
study.
6 weeks.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I like what you said about even the New Year's resolution. It's like set yourself up for like this is the goal. I'm going to be practicing this, actively engaged with this, kind of smart thing there. And I love it. I love it. I hope that your book study is a wild success. It should be.
I'm
It
sure it
sounds
will be.
phenomenal. And I'm gonna have to pick up my copy. I'm gonna start reading. I'm gonna be your best student yet.
I love it. I'd love to have you there.
I
Her
love
copy's
it.
going to be all tabbed and written on and
It will.
highlighted and
That's what mine
yeah.
is. Looks like.
I know. I have my
Yeah.
Kindle right here with all of my everywhere I travel, I put a sticker on it and I'm gonna put that on there. I'm gonna read it in my backyard and yeah,
There you
it's
go.
Yeah.
cool.
Love it.
Well, thank you so much. This has been just so much information and just so many sound bites. I thought this was phenomenal. The 12 days of hot spots, your practical tools to overcome them, and then 2025, your book study. There is nothing better. Laura, thank you so much for being on the Weight Loss Collab podcast. We thoroughly enjoyed the conversation and all of the learnings.
Thank you for having me. I loved it as well.
Yes, this was awesome. And as always, you can find us on Instagram at the Weight Loss Collab. You can find Laura at bariatric.therapist. Find me at hannahschuyler.rd. Find Dr. Dovec at Dr. Dovec. If you're interested in surgery or weight loss medications or just connecting with us professionally, at Body by Bariatrics. We're all over the place. We love it. We love hearing from you all. So feel free, send us a message, follow us, love us. We appreciate everything you
Yes,
do.
I love it. Well, thank you guys again and more to come. Here we go. See you next time. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.